Hello, America. I am here to tell you exactly what you need to do in order to see real change. In order for revolutionary things to happen in this country, in order to get the government, the oppressive government, our oppressive government, off of our backs, in order to fix the economy, in order to have better education for our children, in order to preserve our human rights. I am battling for the truth. My identity is not of importance. What is of importance is what I have to say. And what is more important than that is if you will listen. The first thing I will be addressing is the school systems and how they need to change in order for human beings to receive an actual education. The first thing that needs to happen is they need to stop teaching theories as truth. There are a lot of theories that our school systems teach, but they teach them as true. They don't teach them as theories. If you're going to teach theories, it needs to be established that these are theories. Theories are not bad. Theories should be taught. Another thing is, if you're going to teach one side of theory, then you have to teach the other. If you're going to teach a theory of how everything came out of nothing, then be fair and teach a theory about creation. Number two, we all know that the school systems teach everyone a bunch of crap that most people never use in their lives. This needs to stop. What we need to do is teach the essentials: how to read, how to write, how to spell, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These are essentials, and these things we should all learn. As for everything else, schools should be user-friendly. They should be aimed towards what the kid is good at. So if the kid wants to be an astronaut, start teaching him to be an astronaut. If he wants to be a scientist, start teaching him to be a scientist. If he wants to be a biologist, start teaching him to be a biologist. The only thing that the school system should do is teach the essentials and then focus on what the kid wants to be. And you might ask me, well, what if he changes his mind? Let's say 2 years pass, he's training to be an astronaut or a fireman or a policeman, and then he changes his mind, he wants to be an artist. Well, then change him to an artist. Or have those 2 years of training as the other thing, and have this to back him up. He's already establishing himself in what he's going to be when he grows up. We have forgotten about the heart, America. The heart is where it's at. See, the government just wants to create a bunch of pods. They want to waste your time. They want to teach you a bunch of stuff that you're never going to use. And the reason why they want to do that is because they're filtering you. If you do succeed, and you do retain all that they teach you and all that science stuff, you're going to benefit them. And if you don't succeed, you're still going to benefit them by working your 9-to-5 job, plugged into the system, seeking after your American dream, thinking that you're free. If you focus on what a kid wants to be, he will excel at it. Where there is desire and passion, excellence is produced. And it's the way it's always worked. And that's the way it's always been. If a kid wants to be an artist and you're training him to be an artist, he's going to be a damn good artist. If he wants to be a policeman, you're training him to be a policeman, he's going to be a very good policeman. This is the way the education system should be. It teaches you just the essentials, just the basics. Okay? If someone wants to be a mathematician, then you can teach him algebra and all the other stuff. Most of us aren't mathematicians. Most of us don't use those things in life. We don't have need for them. And what's the use? What good is it to teach someone something that they don't want to know? If someone doesn't want to use algebra and doesn't want to know algebra, then what's the good of teaching them that? Exactly. But that's exactly why the government teaches them that. It's because they know that they don't want to know it, and they don't want to learn it, and so they teach it to them because they know that they're never going to use it. It's just wasted space in their brain. It's an attack on our intelligence. The government wants to produce pods that will plug into the system and make them money. They don't want to create bold thinkers. The government is mind-washing us to believe that the American dream is what's going to make us happy. Another thing that needs to be established is a reward system. It is known throughout all human history that where there is reward, persistence prevails. So this is how the reward system should be in school systems. Number one, if they do good all day in their work, they get the last hour of free play. If a student is good that day, he may go outside, hang out with his friends, and also it needs to be a building that's solely dedicated to reward those who do good. In this building, there needs to be games, computer games, console games, bean bags, refreshments, snacks, and just a lot of fun things to do. That those who have a good day and do good in their work may go and hang out, or go outside and hang out. So if a student does good all day, then he gets the last hour of free play, thus reward. But that's just for a daily basis. Now to create motivation for a weekly basis, we will have Friday Fun Day, where any student who does good on his work all week will get the whole day of free play on Friday. Now these students won't be able to go home, so they still have to be at school. One of the reasons that they will still be at school is because it will create motivation for the other kids who will be stuck in the classrooms doing their work while they get to watch and see all the other students at play. This reward system will create motivation and persistence. The last thing is, there needs to be no homework. You go to school, you do your schoolwork, you come home, you're free. Homework is just another strategy by the government to make us more dependent upon a system. In fact, the entire way the school systems are set up right now is just to make you dependent upon a system. This needs to be scrapped. The next thing that needs to happen in this country is there needs to be introduced a new form of money. Unlike the money we have now, where it's printed out of thin air and given to us by the Federal Reserve, this new money will be tied to actual precious resources, such as silver, gold, jewels, gems, and all precious materials. This money will have a higher value than the money that's printed out of thin air, and it will be backed by actual precious resources. Our money used to be tied to actual resources, and therefore it had actual value. For instance, a dollar bill used to be called a silver note. If you took that silver note into a bank, you can get $1 worth of silver. Now, I'm not saying that we force this money upon anyone. No, this money should be introduced optionally in every state, in every county, and every city. This money will be optional for people to choose over the Federal Reserve money. This money will have a higher value in the entire world, not just our home. And what you will see is people will start to flock to this newer money over the old money, because this money will be much more valuable. How do you think it was that back in the day you could buy a candy bar for 10 cents? Because money used to be tied to actual precious resources. That's the second step. Step 3. It clearly states in the Constitution that we have the right to bear arms, but the government is depriving us of that right and that freedom by defining it how they deem fit. This is not right. The reasons a government will restrict the right to bear arms is so that, number one, we will have to be dependent upon the government to protect us rather than ourselves. Well, I'm sorry, if I'm hanging out with my family at the beach and some guy comes up and pulls out a gun, I don't want to have to pick up my phone, call the police, and then wait for them to come. How long is that going to take?